If the right, if conservatives, if Republicans just aren't going to be serious about winning, maybe it's just a controlled opposition and we're just going to have a managed decline politically, and that's why I wanted to go into business. It's like I could actually do something. You could start and invest in startups. And if we can get technology to work sort of faster than government can retard progress, then maybe we can have a good future. I basically thought it was all over, honestly, until 2016.
All right, we are in studio, and joining me today is the COO of Thiel Capital, the co-author of 0 to 1, which I keep on the set normally right over there, and the next senator from the great state of Arizona, Blake Masters. Welcome to the Rubin Report.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I'm glad to have you, man. I've wanted to do this for a while. We wanted to do it in person.
Yes.
As I said, you are the co-author of that book, which I think was really one of the sort of formative things for me to get involved in the tech world and all of that. And I know that's obviously something that interests you a lot. So why don't we start there? How do you start working with Thiel and getting some of these ideas across about making new things?
Yeah, well, I was a student at Stanford Law School, and I remember my friend said, hey, Peter Thiel, the founder of PayPal, was going to teach a class, and so we should take that class. And I didn't know that much about Peter then. I knew it was libertarian, businessman, billionaire, founded PayPal. That seemed cool.
Good resume.
So he was into seasteading, this idea that you should maybe think about how to start new countries.
We should get back
we'll
on
talk
that
about
idea,
that.
Actually.
So he seemed like a cool guy, and what an opportunity to take a class from someone who wasn't just a professor. I actually done something in the world. So I took that class and sort of befriended Peter. This was my second year in law school. Went to go intern for him at his venture capital fund that summer, and then he came back, taught another class my last year in law school. I took really good notes on that class. I just basically typed down everything he said because I liked the first class, but I can't tell you too much about it because it's all lost to memory, right? I wasn't like a big note taker in college because who cares? But the second time I was prepared, so I wrote down everything Peter said, cleaned it up, posted it online, and these notes became kind of like a phenomenon in Silicon Valley. This was like 2012, because I think it was the first time you could actually kind of collect all of Peter's thoughts on building a startup. That's what the class was about, startups and technology companies and how to do new things in a stagnant society. And so I think people who were interested in Peter at the time, and his stock was sort of rising, like Facebook was just about to IPO, you could piece together things from like interviews, print interviews, YouTube, but there was no one set of like, here's Peter Thiel's thoughts on how to start a startup. And all of a sudden, me, as this random Stanford student, was publishing this online. And so Silicon Valley, a couple thousand people just started following week over week these notes and became this really successful.
Oh, so you were doing it in real time.
I was doing it in real time.
You were in the class putting the notes up and people were following. So basically they were getting the education for free.
That's right.
Alongside you. Yeah.
Which is really interesting because it was this awesome class, and I think we ultimately turned it into a very successful book. But I think it would have just died, like all the material, and Peter worked hard to organize all the thinking for the class. But if it's not recorded, if it doesn't actually get outside the classroom, it just dies there. And that would have been a big shame.
Yeah, so the basic premise of the book is that the next Facebook is not going to be Facebook. To go from 0 to 1, you have to do something fully new.
Right.
Does that feel more sort of relevant now than it did even, 8-10 years ago because of the sort of upheaval and weird spot that we're in right now?
It does. I think we desperately do need new technology to sort of take things to the next level. We have a remarkably stagnant society. I think people get distracted, like the iPhone 13 Pro just came out. It's like, congratulations, the camera's much better. And that's cool.
Wait, it's a half inch bigger or smaller?
Half inch bigger, it's
like,
cool.
It's bigger, better now?
It's good enough. We literally just shot a campaign ad in cinema mode on iPhone 13 Pro, and it's holy shit, this is actually like a really good camera. So there's some innovation, but it's also marginal. And this is all confined to sort of your smartphone or sort of IT broadly or software startups. Actually, society looks so much like it did in the 1970s. Like, we're not moving faster. In some ways, we're moving slower. We don't build houses any better or more efficiently now. Actually, housing prices are just going through the roof, right? So much in our society is stagnant, and 0 to 1 is, narrowly a business book, but broadly, it's this sort of exploration of why is so much of our society just stagnant. Like, why can't we do new things?
Is that kind of the core of why you want to go into politics? Or is it fair to say you even want to go into politics in a way, or you're being sort of dragged to politics? I sense that with a lot of people that are getting involved. It was like, I didn't really want to be a politician at first, but somebody's got to fix this.
Somebody's got to fix it.
And I'm
No,
somebody.
I definitely have that view of it. I mean, I'm getting into it. I really want to get into it. I think it's important. You know, I'm loving campaigning. I'm going to win the race. So I'm motivated.
I just told everybody.
You just told everyone, so that's going to happen.
You're golden.
But it'd be nice in some sense, like if I didn't have to. Like if things were working, if we didn't have this establishment that was presiding over, I think, this cultural and economic decay, then I wouldn't have to. But that's not where we are, and I have to, and I think we need some new thinking in government. So it's also the most important thing I could be doing. I didn't think this was the case in like 2012 when I was taking those notes. I thought, you know, I saw Mitt Romney lose to Barack Obama, and it's like, how could this possibly happen? I thought the first Obama term was so bad that, of course, like a successful businessman governor, Mitt Romney, you know, he even looks the part.
Yeah.
Like, of course he's going to win.
He definitely looks the part.
And then it was just, I think it was too nice, and just sort of failed to understand this was a fight for the future of the country. And he lost, and to me, I've always been political, but it's sort of like, well, if the right, if conservatives, if Republicans just aren't going to be serious about winning, maybe it's just a controlled opposition, and we're just going to have a managed decline politically, and that's why I wanted to go into business. It's like I could actually do something. You know, you could start and invest in startups, and if we can get technology to work sort of faster than government can retard progress, then maybe we can have a good future. So, you know, I basically thought it was all over, honestly, until 2016. And Trump comes on the scene and sort of busts up the establishment. And whatever your view of that is, like, he did it. I think it's great. I thought the administration was very successful. But he showed me that new things are possible in politics. And I think we need much more of a startup mentality because we have too much stagnation, too much bureaucracy. We're really drowning in it.
Yeah.
So it's just time for
I've never thought about it this way, but would you consider Trump in 2016 as sort of a 0-1 moment in politics?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He came, I thought it was sort of refreshing. It was really honest. I mean, I think this is why he was elected. He was like the one person telling the truth, which is this left establishment and the right establishment. It doesn't work. Like people, you know, it was the emperor has no clothes moment where he's just like, you're getting screwed, you're getting ripped off. China's eating our lunch, you know, and he'd been remarkably consistent about that decade over decade. And I think people, that resonated with them. Like the election that we deserved in 2016 was Trump versus Bernie Sanders, which of course the DNC wouldn't let happen and they rigged it so that Bernie couldn't win. But, and I disagree with Bernie Sanders on everything. I think he's just wrong. Like that left-wing sort of communist politics, like that doesn't work. But Bernie was at least more honest than Hillary because he came on the scene and said like, this is rigged. This establishment is failing people. And that's what Trump's message was too. They just had very different policy prescriptions, and I think Trump's were much better.
Do you kind of admire the sort of evilness of the DNC in a way, like that they rigged it against Bernie?
Admire is too strong.
Well, admire the way I always
respect it in a sort of.
Well, admire, I would like the way the doctor admired the alien in the first Alien movie. You know, it was so merciless and it was killing everything and it had no remorse.
Yeah, look, the left is serious about power and they know how to play the game. And again, there's something horrible about that, but they play to win. And so often Republicans don't play to win. We play to be Mr. Nice Guy and then try to get some sinecure at some think tank, you know, when we lose. And I think people are just sick of that because our back's against the wall. There's no more room to play defense.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.